So, वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. Hello, my name is Puneet Singh, and you all love me. I know. Thank you. So, can you hear me? No? Well, I'll talk louder. So, we are doing open mic night, which is apparently a tradition here at Khalsa Cap. I want to know because I'm usually not here. So, that being said, from Jathedar Japram Singh, who we call first among equals here at Khalsa Cap, the Saneha has come that anyone can come up. Granted, it's within, I'm guessing, a family rating, right? That it can be, you can say anything you want, pretty much, virtually, whether it's a joke, whether, what else would you do? A saki, a skit, a joke, poetry, yes, yeah, spoken word, sung word, can they sing? That's enough. Dance routines, with singing, both are acceptable, with or without singing, either or. And that's about it. Or you can just come up here, we can laugh at you if you were like funny looking. That would work too. All these things are viable options. Sorry? Because if you should laugh. Yeah, you can. Look. It works. I swear to you, it works. So, if you have nothing to say, judging by looking at the crowd, half of you could come up and do that. Tell her to stop because that joke went over your head. Okay, so, who do we have for sure? I think we have Manir Singh's coming up, right? Do you want to start us off? Sorry? If you want, does anybody else really want to start off like, man, it's Rabta kar diya. Anybody? You want to go? Tarun Singh, all the way from California. Tarun Singh, a little biography about the man. He went to Harvard. He was formerly sitting on that mat, and now he's up here. Also, and apparently this is it's too early for shots fired, right? So I'll save those jokes for later.
Okay, so actually my thing is a little bit serious, but I'll try to make it entertaining. Because I was told to do that with Japnam. We have great stories about Japnam that happen at camps between the hours of midnight and 5 a.m. If anybody's interested, we can talk about those later. Sanbir Singh will attest to that. He can eat M&Ms like no one else. But that being said, how many of you guys have a cell phone, a smartphone? If you do, can you raise your hand? Okay, cool, I have one too. And how many of you guys have Sundar Gutka on there? Okay. So Sundar Gutka is something that me and some of my friends have been working on for the last few years, and you'll notice that it's actually the most downloaded Gutka app in the world on both iOS and Android. And there are mistakes and there are bugs in there, and that's where you guys come in. If you find something wrong, let us know, right? And because it's really hard because we spent all this time and effort trying to make these apps. And we're actually we've made another app for people who do kirtan and want to have shabads that they jump around in. You know how they do Padman from another shabad? So there we have another app called My Poti, and that's free too, right? And we're coming out with another app which is basically going to let you read a bunch of Sikh history books and a bunch of Sikh philosophy books for free. And so you're like, okay, so why do I care? We're constantly working on improving them. So one of the things we want to add is, in Sundar Gutka, we want to add translations, right? So for the translations, as you can imagine, we have all of Bayivara, we have all the Nityanem, and maybe like 30, 40 other Vaniya in Sundar Gutka right now. And to translate that, it's a lot of work. And we're not capable of doing that ourselves because we all have jobs, and some of us have kids, and I don't, luckily. And don't plan on it anytime soon. But that's where you guys come in, because we actually have made a website where you guys can click on the Barney name and just you type in the translation from the source underneath the line, and it's kind of like crowdsourcing where we have everybody else, helping translate the Barniya. And then you know what the most rewarding thing is? The most rewarding thing is when you actually open up the app and you see the thing you worked on, and you just kind of feel really cool about it. The other interesting thing is we have about 10 to 11,000 people in the world that use that app every day to do Nityanem. If you're interested, Japji Sahib is the most commonly read Bani. No surprise there.
Are you spying on us while we do thoughts?
No, so we have. So
Are you saying a part?
we actually are. You heard of Chitragupta, right? And they write everything that you do down. We are that. In the Dargah, it comes out. On November 26th, you only did 4 Bani, man. What's going on? Anybody want to guess what the second most popular Bani is? It's actually it was a surprise to me. So yeah, Sukhmani Sahib was actually the second most popular Bani read, which is really surprising to me because I think of Sukhmani Sahib like it's too long for me to read. I'm like, I'll leave that to the religious people to do. But there's other things that we're also working on. So one is a kid's book that's in my hand right now, and it's called Prem Singh's Day. And I'm just going to show you my favorite picture in here, and you guys can say, "Aw." Isn't this picture really cute? Right? Look at that. Like, I think Juni's reaction to this is, he's Nangu. That's what she said to me earlier today. And I was like, yeah, he is, but it's really cool. It's my favorite picture. But if you guys want to help with this kind of stuff, or you guys like writing or drawing, like right now, to have this, honestly, we can't find Sikh artists. So we're having to outsource this stuff to like Malaysia. And so we're making like another book called like who's heard of like Goodnight Moon? No one? Okay. I guess nobody's into like the under 5 book scene. But we're making another book called Goodnight Guru, and so we're like having to describe what the gurus look like, or like what we think they look like to these Malaysian artists, and they're coming back with the most ridiculous pictures, right? And so it's like taking so many iterations to like get Guru Gobind Singh Ji's like eyes right, for example. But the point is, if you have ideas about like writing books or drawing, or you want to contribute to the Gutka app or other apps, or like the book app or for vidya.com, let us know. And this is really something that we need the youth to really do, because some of the founders in our group are getting a bit old, and they're getting they're turning 30 this year, so they're getting a bit old. But these are the same people that invented the first, or made the first Kirtan sites on the website, on the internet. So like Kirtan.net was the first Kirtan website where you could download Kirtan for free. And now, we just don't have time to manage all of that. And so if you guys can help, that would be great. So I promised you I wouldn't be funny, but thank you guys for all your help.
Right. Thank you very much, Tarun Singh. Yes, that's very true. Actually, legitimately, that's very true. 10,000, 11,000 people use the app every day to do Nitrim. I'm not one of them personally. Sorry, can I do Beijing, or can you get 5 people to get it? It's a joke. Everyone's like, alright, so, next. S'mores are being passed around. And anyone, who's next? Who wants to come up and share something? That's true. She should. I should be in bed at that time, but she should definitely. Oh wow! Bobby's World. I'm so mean. Bobby's World. Anyway, Bobby's World. Anyway, before we get there though, give you a chance to eat your s'mores. Anybody have anything they want to share? I don't know how active these things usually are. So, Manveer Singh. So we've got Manveer Singh, SFU student, member of the Sixth Students Association, the better of the 2 Sixth Students Association, if I may so add. And that's it, and he's got something to say. So say it.
Alright, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Today's kind of like the first time I'm doing this. I write down a lot of poetry. I never really perform it, but today's gonna be the first time. It's a bit on the serious end. The inspiration comes from various stories of people finding difficulty in their lives and finding solace in Sikhi. So, without further ado. Sitting on the edge of the sea, remembering the cold night, the image of the sharp blade. Every thought becomes a voice, every voice becomes a command, every command becomes an urge to see the teeth of the blade sink into the mocha skin, followed by a crimson flow, falling, Sitting in a room alone yet surrounded by people, an outer shell displaying a beautiful lie of camaraderie, of solidarity, of oneness. The masks lift and truth is seen. They see hate and judgment behind the guise. Yet outside, they see warm, deceptive eyes. The sound of laughter fills the air, piercing their ears. A spear of thoughts pierces their hearts. Pain far worse than sticks and stones, with every moment their inner courage falling. Opening the door, he steps inside, closing the door into imprisonment. Imprisonment in accordance to his own will. A place of duality. He fashions a mask of cheerfulness. His true self lays discarded at the doorpost, forced to carry out a life of pretense. Pretense in the century-old form of is it. Is it so superficial, carrying it as a burden so heavy, with it, he loses his inner self. He becomes hollow, oppressed by those he loves. His spirit is crushed, day by day, falling. One day, things change. He enters his life. He pulls him off of the bed. He yanks away the knife, letting it fall to the ground. His words caress his soul. He loses himself in his warm glow. He accompanies me wherever I go. He reminds me I am not alone. His face is true. His essence is true. Not only is he himself true, but he is truth himself. He breaks my shackles. He surrounds me in his loving arms. He fills the blood that would have flowed in vain with ambrosia. He fills my hollow soul with peace, love, tranquility, and joy. He has restored the unrestorable. He is the knower of all, the provider of Rajani, the lord of Tanna, the honor of Ramdev. His glory knows no bounds. He, my guru, has emancipated me. He catches the falling, and now I see my inner sorrows falling.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Manveer Singh, proving yet again that SFU is indeed the better university. Thank you. So, anyone else? Who else would like to come up here and pour their soul out? Remy Kaur, where are you at? I was actually, this is not made up, I was witness to one poem that you wrote like 3 years ago.
Oh.
Was that 43?
When did Gurjeet get married? Her sister?
Yeah, that year. Anyway, that year. She's actually a phenomenal writer, so here you go.
Okay, so since that Gurjeet did a poem, I'm going to do a poem too. Okay. This is like more PC than my other ones. So, yeah. Okay, so it's really somber, so I apologize ahead of time if I get your mood down. Please don't record this. Ravneet Kaur, put your phone down. Thanks. Okay. I don't have a title for this.
The camera.
The cell phone.
Oh my God.
Notice the cell phone. That's the joke. That's the joke.
Yeah, that was a joke. Okay. Okay. This is titled Poem for Saturday because I don't have a title for this poem. Okay, ready. Sailed the sea, rode the tide, toured the planet far and wide. Reached the moon with lots of pride. My soul, not sure, never looked inside. Made lots of money, conquered the economy, got 3 degrees and a PhD. Fell in love with a boy, baked him cookies with love and empathy, till my soul, I got a checkmate. So, married the sucker, gave him kids and made him cake, but then he beat me with a dunda as I held a gutka near my face. Mom told me to deal with it. Dad looked away. My sus felt sorry. All I could do was pray. Sailed the sea, rode the tide, toured the planet far and wide. Reached the moon with lots of pride. My soul, it's scorched like a tandoori, worn out clay oven inside. Went back to school, got 2 jobs, saved enough money for a house and a car, divorced the addict, started going to samagams, fell in love with my guru as I got out of that emotional Myanmar. Gurbani and Path became my North Star, led me to Kirtan at the local Gurdwara, a mother of 3, a divorcee at 25. What would my Pago and my mothers think of me? A docile woman, a naive little girl, that is not who Sulakshmi Nanki and Matakivi were at all. Sailed the sea, rode the tide, toured the planet far and wide, reached the moon with lots of pride. My soul, it's illuminated inside.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful. Actually, I shouldn't even make jokes now because that was so wonderful. Anybody else want to come up and share anything? Someone else must have something, probably a little less, tear-jerking than that. Just slightly. Someone must have something. Again, it could be anything. You could say one.
No, what am I gonna do? I can't crack my jokes here.
Someone must have something. Also, in terms of video and pictures, feel free to take them. And just make sure you tag me when you put them on Instagram.
I'll zoom in.
Huh? At Puneet Singh. That's Puneet with an A. Thank you. So, someone must have something, or else I'm gonna have to sing a song. Go for it.
Sing it. I like making people feel after.
I don't know if I can do that.
We'll do it.
Someone must have something. Come on, Gagan Singh. I'm gonna start picking people out. Gagan Singh, do you have something to share with everyone? Vrinder Singh. Who else do we have? Khalsa cool voice.
Gang should go up.
Sukhpreet, yeah. Hello. Khalsa school girls? No. Khalsa school in general is just a no-show.
Khalsa school's a fail.
Young ones? No, okay. Nobody.
Khalsa school failed.
Somebody. I always say something funny. It's getting a little bit. So,
He's gonna start talking about Khalsa.
come on, nobody? I'll make you a deal. I will sing my song first, but I need someone to commit to come up after that. I will sing my song.
That's like quid pro quo.
Sure, yeah, I speak Latin. Is it Russian? All the same to me. Alright, so, come on, nobody has anything.
Okay, I'll come up.
Okay, no, that's cheating. That's cheating.
How?
Because you're on the mic half the time anyway.
He's our favorite. He's our favorite.
Top 10
Huh? Nobody. Huh? You volunteer? What is this, the Hunger Games? Sorry?
You have to live by your budget.
I have to live by my budget. Chalo theek hai. That's Guru Gobind Singh Ji's hukam. So, I'm not saying he's Guru Gobind Singh, I'm saying the budget. I mean, Japna is powerful, but not that powerful. Alright, so, I'll tell you a little story about this song that we wrote. And I will get to who he is as well. The authorship of this song is not disputed. It belongs to myself, and that's a little political humor. Anyway, so it belongs to myself and a cousin of mine by the name of Pradeep Singh. Some of you guys may or may not know him. He takes pictures. And it dates back to February of 2007. Okay? Or March, actually. March, because that's when Hola Mohalla is. And we were driving to Anandpur Sahib. Now, our train to Anandpur Sahib is quite some distance. It's actually not that far for India standards, but it's about 4 hours. And in 4 hours, that's a long time. I mean, you can do a Sukhmani Sahib, and after that, you're just staring at each other. So we're on our way, and we're like, what do we do? So we did a lot of people watching in India, a lot of people watching in general, and some interesting things happen in India. If I can get a volunteer, actually, I need a male volunteer. So some of the things we noticed were things about how friendly male interaction is in India. Like, we actually saw the two people walking down the street like this, just buddies. And then coming around here, just walking like this. So, thank you very much. Jikara for Gurjeet Singh. So, yeah, we saw stuff like that on the way to Anandpur Sahib. We did Yatra along with Paonta Sahib too. On the way to Paonta Sahib, saw some interesting things. Paonta Sahib, they had Kavi Darbars, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, very relevant to what's happening right now. Anyway, hello Ajuni. Anyway, on the way to Paonta Sahib. So Paonta Sahib really was where it happens. It's like 8 hours long. You need something to do. You need something to do. So we made this song. Don't know where it came from. Based on the children's nursery rhyme, "Do Your Ears Hang Low." Huh?
Let's do this in the
You tie them in a boat. Yes, exactly. So you know the lyrics. But we put a little sticky twist on it because you know it's like we came from big so many sides and you don't want to start singing Junior's Head Roll. And like 3 grown men singing Junior's Head Roll. It's a little bit disturbing. So put a little twist on it, came up with like 5 verses or so. It goes a little something like this. Does your dadi hang low? Does it come down to the floor? Can you tie it in a knot or do you use fix? So can you hold it in your mouth? Do you bark your much? Does your dadi hang low? Is your dastar so fine? Do you tie it all the time? Is it raspberry red or is it lemony lime? Do you tuck your lard in or do you use a pin? Is your dastar so fine? It's been a while. Is your chola big and white? Can you fly it like a kite? Is your cover kasa loose or do you tie it really tight? Does your chola hang low or does your kashara show? Is your and white? This one has a little bit of, well, a little
Were you hanging out with the hunks before you wrote?
Sorry?
Were you hanging out with the hunks before you wrote?
Actually, no, because in the next verse we say, is your gatra thick and wide or are you tiksalified? Is it up by your waist or does it hang by your thighs? And this one's very true, don't deny it. Did you wash it yesterday or has it started to decay? Is your gatra thick and wide? And then there's the last one. God na sanoji. Is your kashara low or high? Do you ever wonder why? When you really need to go, that it just won't untie? This actually can't go anywhere. This legitimately can't go anywhere. If you don't find this fantastic, you can just switch to elastic. Khalsa school kids, am I right? Is your kashara low or high? Oh, oh. Okay, wait a second. Ramjo has something to share. Another Khalsa school student. Don't know what his kashara condition is.
Knock, knock. Banana. Banana. Knock, knock. Banana. Banana. Knock, knock. Orange. Orange. Aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
Oh my god, I'm falling down.
Police on
Thank you. You may know Brahmjot Singh's Nani Ji, she is a living legend by the name of Mrs. Ramji. Who's not here, which is surprising.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Oh, there you go. You will be witness to legendary. Now, Jafnam Singh. Laoji, please grace the stage with your presence.
So this is a story about Sansveer Singh.
Shots fired!
Shots fired.
What do you think we know who's going next?
Sansveer Singh is going next.
We'll want you after this.
Sansveer Singh is such a diva that he forced me to go all the way to California in order to convince him to come to camp. I'm just giving you guys some behind the scenes into the life, the spectacular life of a camp organizer. And
Miss Smuggle.
oh my God. Actually, what I wanted to tell you was that there's 2 Sevadars who are really behind the scenes, and they've pretty much saved camp in the past 24 hours. Okay, Uncle, the caretaker uncle. Okay, so if anyone sees him, really give him a big thank you. Last night the water shut down in the entire campsite twice.
Yeah.
Okay, he fixed it. Not only did he fix that, he fixed the hot water in the girls' cabin. He also, today we fixed the heat in the girls' cabin. Okay, so there's a lot of amazing things done by the Khalsa Center team. And I wanted to make sure they get credit. So that's the caretaker uncle, first and foremost. He put heaters in the girls' building as well last night until we got the heat fixed. And also Steven. Steven is my relative, sort of. He's like Bobby's brother. Okay? And he came today, and out of the goodness of his heart, he fixed the heat. Okay? So I had to come up with something. So I just came up with a story about the Khalsa Center Sailor team and their heroics in saving Khalsa Camp.
Yeah.
Huh? That doesn't make a song.
Do something entertaining.
Okay?
He's too chardi club.
Tell us about West Coast. Tell us about some behind the scenes.
Again, I had to go. Santi Piercing agreed to come here in October, okay? And then he's like, I'm so busy, I'm too important for Khalsa Camp. And so, yeah, I had to go to California. And because I went to California, I had to miss a wedding, a Rumpus Score, and a Roop Sing, which has made me really sad.
Miss Markham too. Miss Markham.
He consumed an entire 4-pound
Okay. That's not true, but inside joke, okay? Yeah. Anyways, I just felt like I had something with Santi Piercing because he's mentioned my name in his lectures like 10 times in the past 4 camps, okay? And so... Huh? Embarrassing him?
Yeah.
Okay, Santi Piercing has done something. I can't really go into specifics because it will defame me as well. Okay? But he has done something that has badly influenced me and therefore has badly influenced many other people. Okay? That's entirely... Anyway. Okay? But any further details, then I will be... my reputation will be tarnished.
Mom, come on.
Sorry?
Left us hanging.
Okay, Santi Piercing's gonna finish. Somebody else gonna go next?
Follow-up. No more follow-up. You're gonna be the last one? Is there anything else to talk about? Well, no, I haven't talked about it. I'm just saying that if someone else wishes to go out, if it's so inspired, quick.
So we have a choice now. What time is it right now, Thompson?
9:07.
So we're supposed to go to bed at 9:30?
Yeah, we've done here nothing.
20 minutes? So what should we do for 20 minutes?
I wanted to add something. You mentioned something about Pai thing. I just wanted to add something to that. When Santi told very briefly about how he killed Hopkinson, he said he put down his weapon, and he said arrest me, right? But and he did. But there's just something really small thing. So I'm kind of twisted in the sense that I'd like to find really small, funny things about Sikh history, right? Because it really, you understand this is a human being, right? Me and Santi and I were talking, and he said something really, really profound, which is that we look at it. Pai Mela Singh's unique in the sense that it wasn't some like crazy, like out of this world Gursikh, right? He was just another Gursikh who had dad, who felt the pain of Sikhi, or any pain that his fellow Sikhs felt. So he was really a human being. So the words you have to understand. Pai Mela Singh came to Canada in 1906 or 1908, and in 6 years he worked in a mill and he worked in the Gurdwara, and he did Granthi Seva mostly. He did nothing else for the most part. No education, nothing like that. So he wasn't as eloquent as saying, arrest me, and I don't care what happens to me, that I'm confessing to the murder. It's quoted in the paper that Pai Mela Singh, after shooting Hopkinson, when the Gori were running at him, he dropped the weapon and he said, I shoot, I don't care. But saying the same thing, right? I shoot, I don't care. It's really, really cool to think about that. I think I showed you guys a class about that, right? It's really, really cool. I think he was just another Gursikh with dal, and that's what triggered him. And that same kind of spirit that you were talking about with Asaki was alive with Pai Mela Singh. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. Yeah.
We're going to next January do a reenactment of another weekend.
That's a big announcement, man. That's a hard one to follow up.
Really? We do that.
So we need everyone's help to make it happen.
Okay, so we have a few desires. Next year, January 11th, will be the 100th Shahidi Divas of Pai Mela Singh. 1915, he was hanged. October 1914 is when he killed Hopkinson. And Javnav Singh and I have been talking about for some time. And we have a lot of things that we've wanted to do, a lot of ideas that we've been bouncing back and forth. There's a lot of historical sites associated with Pai Mela Singh around, considering he walked in the same streets that we do today. But one thing we think would be really amazing is, if you guys don't know, Pai Mela Singh was hung around downtown Westminster. He was hanged, sorry, in downtown Westminster. And his body was cremated at Fraser Mills, which is Coquitlam now, but it's really just like the edge of New Westminster, which is not too far away. It's about a 5-minute car ride. And the Gota Sikhs of that time, what they did was, as soon as Bhai Mela Singh's body was hanged, they took his Shahidi Swaroop and they took it all the way back to Fraser Mills. They did a Nagar Kirtan with it. And there's actually a picture that came out last year sometime from SFU that you can see the Nagar Kirtan happening, and Malcolm Reed, who's one of the inspectors at the time, he's actually standing there watching the Sikhs go by. It's really, really interesting. But, so they're walking, the same route that they walked. We have a guesstimation of what that route was, and we wanted to reenact that Nagar Kirtan. Reenact that Nagar Kirtan that they did with Bhai Mela Singh's body. So keep your ears and eyes peeled. We will be contacting people for support, for Seva, because it's really something that needs to happen, because Bhai Mela Singh, we recognize him universally in the Sikh Panth as a great Shaheed. Hanji, we will talk to Mr. Shamandeep Singh, who is at Sevadar in Westminster. So, we really want something to happen because we recognize Bhai Mela Singh as universally as a Shaheed across Sikhs across the world, not even just Sikhs across the globe, but even Indians across the globe. This is one of those rare unifying Shaheeds between all Indians, because everyone recognizes the contribution of Bhai Mela Singh. And the fact that he was Shaheed right here on our soil, that we live on, we walk on, breathing the same air, everything, it's just, it blows your mind. The fact that this is a Gota Sikh living in BC just 100 years before us, which is really nothing, it's the blink of an eye in terms of history. So we want to celebrate that. We want this news to come out, because Canada has been doing that thing about they apologize for Kamagata and all these things. So we want to continue that trend, that now that you recognize you apologize for that, now let's reconcile. Let's talk about the things that happen within that, right? And let's move on from there. Let's move on from there. Let's recognize that not everyone that worked in the Department of Immigration at that time was the most honorable of people, right? And make Bhai Mela Singh known to the general public. So it would be very, very great. So we'll be contacting you people. I'm sure that Khalsa Camp has an email list about Seva for this event in the coming months. All right? Sorry. So, we are always prepared.
I have a joke.
Oh, wonderful. Bobby.
Yeah, Remy Craig, come on.
Bobby.
Okay. What do you call a lonely vegetable?
Bobby.
Broccoli.
Huh?
Like broccoli.
Kali.
It's like lonely. I did so that I could remember that. Okay, this is a little blasphemous because it's like there's a little Gurbani. Okay, so if anyone's like really hardcore, please walk out right now.
Gagan Singh.
Please don't put this online.
Gagan Singh.
Okay. Okay, so this is like only gonna make sense if you actually like know a little bit of Gurbani, which is like why I'm really happy to present it here, because I feel like you people do. Okay. So you know, like when the cow and the bunny got married, what did they title their wedding invitation card? Moola Lanseo Preet Bunny.
No.
Okay, should I only do bunny jokes?
Does somebody want to call Guru Hara aside? Tell him what's going on.
Yeah, I've been called like Ram Rai like so many times, and I'm not even offended by it anymore. Oh my goodness.
Bobby.
Okay, yeah. So we're just gonna do the Ram Rai Saki afterwards. Am I the par excellence for Ram Rai? Okay. Anyways, so what language lets you gaze into the distance?
Wait a second.
Farsi. I told you this joke, didn't I? Okay. Like what language lets Farsi. Yeah. Okay.
You're not allowed to ask.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you guys have an orange Julius here, right? Instead of Jam Juice, because you're really lame. It's okay. So like, Oh, you have booster juice. Okay. Okay. So, like one time, like Farid's G, he went to Orange Julius and he ordered something, and then okay, and so the cashier or the waiter, he calls out when his order was ready. What did he call out? He was like, "Sheikh Farid ji ka." Oh, whoa.
Khalsa. Okay, this is a funny story about Amritsar Jar. Das wasn't raised in Sikh household, so I didn't know what happened in an Amritsar Jar. Thus only learned about the first Amritsar Jar, and I assumed that continued.
What?
So I learned about the first Amritsar Jar when I was very young. I learned that Google went to the asked for head, went inside the tent, came out, sword blood red. And so I go into my Amritsar Jar. I figured, well, the punch berry came out alright, so I guess they'll sew my head on again. It won't take a second. And then I punch berry put the head down. I'm like, why are you holding my head? I'm not gonna run. And I was like, did they cut my head off when I wasn't looking after? But on a more serious note, Agiji, we're talking a bit about like what the Kanda represents, Agiji. But also, every one of us right now, that's Amritari, is actually wearing their own Kanda. At Amritsar, we get given our own Kanda of sorts by the punch berry. What we get given at Amritsar is Nam. Right? And that Nam will bring us towards that Sat, that truth. The Kanda, that's the power of truth to cut through falsehood. I've heard Singhs talking about how when they say Simran starts happening with them, they say their Kanda starts going. In Amritsar, I didn't understand Panjbani at all. But when the Panj Bihari started moving the Kanda back and forth in the Bata, all I started doing was Vah, Guru, Vah, Guru, Vah, Guru. And so afterwards, that's the kind of Kanda that we should be focusing on. These other Kanda, they come and go. But that Kanda, that stays with us all the time. So we should keep focused on that one, right? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bro Simran Singh. If you don't mind, Singh, remember when we went to Singh's camp and we had the discussion? And you got up and you said something, and I really liked it. You mind if I hear it? It didn't sound personal. So I hope this is how what I'm talking about. But it was really, really beautiful. Because we were talking about case. Gagan Singh was there, I remember, right? And we were talking about case and the importance of case. And everyone started talking about their personal journeys, how they got to where they are, how they got to where they are. And Babadi came up and he's like, people asked me why I became a Sikh. And he said, the reason I became a Sikh, he's like, the reason I became a Sikh is because the Bible told me to. Right? That quote. And I loved it. I was like, that's great. I was like, that's such an unexpected way to go about it, that the Bible told me to. So I just wanted to share that. That was really, really awesome. So thank you. Thank you. Jukara for Babadi over here. Not so much for him, but for his bitch. Thank you. I'm just trying to, double the playing field here. So, if anybody else have something to share now that anyone come up here and start crying or something? I don't know. If not, then we had to just saying. Because the way that Bro Simran Singh came up here, and like he started off with a joke, and it kind of got everyone's attention, and then he gave his lesson. It reminded me a little bit of Sutra Shah in his approach. Okay, you want to tell the story? Yeah, maybe. So there's Guru Hargobind Sahib Maharaj had found, when they were when they were out with their Fauj one day, they had found a little baby, a young baby. And this baby had a mustache, he had a mole, missing teeth, and it was just not a pleasant looking baby. Okay? And Guru Hargobind Sahib says to the Sikhs that I'm going to take ownership of him. And the Guru Sikh said to Guru Maharaj that Guru said, why are you going to take this kid? He's Kothra, right? Kothra meaning like dirty, or he's this and that, whatever. And Guru Sahib said, no, he's not Kothra, he's Sutra. Sutra meaning like Saaf Sutra, like beautiful. And for the rest of Sutra Shah's life, he's going to be named Sutra. So Guru Sahib adopted him as a child. He was raised with Guru Hargobind Sahib. He left for the time from Guru Har Rai Sahib to Guru Tegh Bahadur, and he returned to Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Darbar. And Sutra Shah, and something we don't talk about a lot is Sikhi. Like I said, I'm really twisted. I like to find small funny things in these occurrences. But Sutra Shah is not twisted. He used to just be hilarious. He was just an absolute comedian. He was a joker. He's the funniest person probably in the history of Sikhi. I'm going to go out and say that. Okay, putting myself in the background. I'm saying that. He's got to be the funniest person in the history of the Sikh Panth. But everything he did, every single thing he did, was always to teach a lesson to the Sangha. And there are very few Sakya famous ones about Sutra, but they're all really, really funny. And one that I grew up hearing, was from my mom actually. That's the first person I heard about Sutra Shah from. And then now, whichever, if I get a chance to do Sangat with the Gurmukh, I always ask them, do you know anything about Sutra Shah? Can you tell me something about Sutra Shah? Because I love it. And now I've acquired like 4 or 5 Sakya about him, and I tell them wherever I go. Because it's just such a wonderful way to connect with Sikhi in a way you wouldn't expect by joking around. So Sutra Shah, he was very, very boisterous. So he wasn't like a sit in the back, shy kind of person. And what happened was, if Sutra Shah saw someone meaninglessly going through a ritual or doing something just for the sake of doing it, he would call them out on it. And he did this often in Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Darbar. And one time, he was sitting in Guru Maharaj's Darbar, and a Guru Sikh was reading Rara Sahib Darbar. And when this Guru Sikh was reading Rara Sahib, he's at Sodar. And Sodar, you guys know, it's the entire Shabd of Sodar is just about Ustad, about how all these different kinds of Brahmans, worlds and worlds, are doing praise of a God called Vaheguru. All these people are doing praise of a God called Vaheguru, whether they're warriors, whether they're trees, whether they're the Tirths that people go to Vishnu, everyone's doing praise of a God called Vaheguru. So when this Guru Sikh was reading the part, Sutra Shah saw him and he noticed that this Guru Sikh is not really paying attention. He just kind of went through the motion of and while he's reading, at the end of each line, Sutra he shouts something at the party. And so the party will be like, and Sutra will be like, Tennuki! And the Sangha, he'll be like, Tennuki! And the party will be like, what? And they say, okay. So he keeps reading, next line, at the next line, he's like, Tennuki! Over and over. Through all the Sodar, he does this. And after that, the Guru Sahib goes to Guru Gobind Singh, he complains that Sutra, he was interrupting my part, and Guru Sahib calls Sutra, says, is this true? Is this what you're doing? Sutra says, yes, Guru Maharaj, that's exactly what I was doing. And Guru Sahib says that, can you explain why you're doing this? And Sutra Shah said that, Guru Sahib, your Rachi Hoi Bani is so beautiful. The Bani you wrote is so beautiful, it's explaining how all these plants, animals, beings, creation, everything is praising a God called Vaheguru. And this guy was sitting on stage reading Rara Sahib, and he wasn't even focused, he wasn't even thinking about it. He's like, so that's what I was saying, Tennu kiya ho jo marji kari jaan, hota kari jaan, like Tennu kiya tu hai main padi jana. Right? So Sutra Shah would always go up and he would do content of people's pakhand. Right? He would take the ritual out of doing anything like that. So, just reminded me, he's hilarious. I have like 7 stories about him. If you want to hear them, come find me, I'll tell you. I'm happy. That's one thing. But it's not to be saying, I'll hand drop to you. Let's go, please, Jan.
Keep going. One more.
One more? Yeah. See, that's the thing. I never thought anyone would actually ask me that. Now I'll look like this awesome Yeti, and then people will be like, oh, you know, Puneet Singh, he knows like 7 songs. There's this one other one. It's very similar, but it's short, so I'll tell that one. It's very, very similar circumstance. There's Kirtan going on. Ragi Singhs are doing Kirtan, and Sutra is sitting there in the Darbar, and halfway through the Shabd, he gets up and he swears. He swears at the Ragis and he runs out of the Darbar. And everything just stops, right? And everyone looks at Maharaj is like, go get Sutra, right? So they bring Sutra back, and Guru Sahib says, the sutra, what's going on? Like, why did you do that? And Guruji, sutra said, Guruji, can you ask the Ragi Singhs what God I said? So Guru Sahib brought the Ragis over. He's like, what God did he say? And they said, like, this is the God. Like, this is the God he said. He's like, can you get some people from the Sangat, ask them what God I said? And they brought him. They told him, this is the God they got. He's like, okay. He's like, now everyone here, can someone tell me what Shabd was being sung? And no one had the answer. No one had the answer. And so he did a lot of the stuff in Darbar, stuff that we consider disrespectful. But it's always, again, for a greater understanding. Something that I'm a big fan of. Anyway, there's my 2 stories about Sutra Sham. The other 5? Okay, I lied. I have 4 in total. I can tell you one more because it's short. The other one's a little bit lengthy. You've got to go to Delhi, and then there's a shoe and a mosque. It's the whole 9 yards. So the third one is very short. It's in Guru Maharaji's Darbar again. He liked to do. Actually, I have 5, but the 5th one I can't really remember. It's about the Shab. What's that Shab? It comes. But Biji's Barney, that when you go to meet a Sant or a Sadhu, you're not supposed to take anyone with you. Right? Pairatising writes about it too. It's about that. But anyway. Yes, Pairatising writes about it, you should know. Anyway, that's enough casteism. So, last thing about Sutra. So one time he was sitting in Darbar, and there was Guru Sahib was doing Katha. So I've heard this Saki twice, and some people say that Guru Sahib was there and Guru Sahib was reading Barney. Another one says Guru Sahib was doing Katha. Either way, you get the same message out of it. And he's sitting there, and halfway through, so he's sitting Chowkari Maat at the very front of the Sangha. Halfway through, he stands up, turns around, and sits down with his back facing Maharaj. And everyone just freaks out. Everyone runs, they run to Sutra, they're like, right? Everyone's yelling at him, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then Sutra, he looks at them, he's like, what are you doing? And they're like, we want to know why you're disrespecting Guru Sahib. And Sutra says, I'm not disrespecting Guru Sahib, I'm listening to Barney. And then they're like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm listening to Barney, you're not. And then they said, what do you mean? Sutra said that I was listening to this Guru Barney that Guru Sahib wrote, and Guru Sahib's language is so harsh in this Barney that I felt like they were slapping me across over and over on the face. They're like, "Mera hun muh dakhan lag gaya, main kya Guru Sahib tusi ithe piche pui kyun aate?" So always again to channel on a greater truth. So if that's where we want to end, or do you want to say something? I would like to say something too. It'd be better. So hand off to Sanpir Singh. I'll see you guys with the mic on Monday.
Thank you for those sakis, pretty interesting sakis. And it's actually, if you go through Sikh history, you'll find a lot of funny sakis. There's a very quick one. Nawab Kapoor Singh, the next leader of the Khalsa Dal after Nawab Kapoor Singh was Sardar Jassa Singh Ahluwalia. And Sardar Jassa Singh Ahluwalia had an amazing childhood. He was raised by Mata Sahib Kaur, Mata Jeet Kaur, but he was raised in Delhi. So when he went back to Punjab when he was a teenager and joined the Khalsa army, all the Sikhs in Punjab, do you know the story? They used to make fun of him. They would call him Tumko Hamko. Because they're like, you don't know how to speak Punjabi properly, you talk Hindi. So all throughout Sikh history, you have these little funny stories, and I think a lot of times we take things too seriously. And especially if you look at Guru Nanak Sahib Ji, a lot of his sakis are actually based on humor. So if you go into a river and everyone else is throwing water one way, you start throwing it the opposite way, that's a ridiculous thing to do, you know? If you go to Mecca and you put your feet towards Mecca and everyone else, Muslims all over the world, sleep with their heads, even a religious Muslim in Vancouver will sleep with their heads towards Mecca, and Guru Nanak Sahib Ji goes there and does the opposite. It's a joke, right? So Guru Sahib Ji uses humor to try to, just as Sutra Shah as well, to try to change people's perception. So it's a way of snapping people out of their comfort zone in an interesting way. I'm going to be going tonight. I just wanted to say that thank you very much for the opportunity to come here and to do Sangat with you guys. Devan was amazing this evening. I really appreciated it. And I hope that we all gained something from today. And those things that we talked about in Asa Givad on the workshops, let's try to take that thinking into Asa Givad in the morning. So when we are doing it, when we're singing it, let's try to connect to Guruji. Let's remember that this is an old Maryada of the Khalsa Panth, going back to Guru Nanak Sahib Ji. And let's really feel that power and inspiration of generations of Sikhs. And that's a really inspiring thing. is that, you know, if you come back, if you were to take a time machine and you were to go into the future, you know, 500 years or 1,000 years, everything in the world might look very different. You know, people will be wearing weird things, they'll have like their phones in their ears or something, or God knows what, you know? But you will still be able to recognize a Sikh. You'll still be able to see who a Sikh is. You'll still be able to go to Gurdwara and see someone doing kirtan, doing Bach. Like those things are unchanging. So we have a very, you know, you can go back 400 years in the past, you can walk around India and you'll come across a Sikh and you'll right away be able to recognize who the Sikh was. So that's an incredible thing that in a world that's always changing, there's consistency there, and that consistency is because we are connected to you. So let's keep our traditions alive, but don't become stagnant in them. So even though we have these traditions, we also can be creative, we can be funny, we can engage with the world and really make a change in the world. Because you can't make a change if you're just sitting at home and not taking part in the work. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you to the Sevadars, everybody, Gurvinder Fendi for doing all the Langar Seva as usual, and all the other Fendis and the brothers who helped do the Langar Seva. I know there's no aunties here this year, so it's a lot of hard work, and I really appreciate it. And I think we all do. And also thank you to the other speakers who I'm not going to have a chance to listen to, but tomorrow you'll have 2 speakers, and on Monday another speaker. So I hope you guys give them the same respect that I got today, which I really appreciated. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Bole Sonhal, Lights out in 20 minutes.
25.
25.